We know the benefits that come out of there, jobs for our youthful population, skilled, non-skilled, semi-skilled, if you like. Number two, business opportunities for our partners, investors, but also for the domestic businesses. It's very important that if we are driving the growth agenda, that we take care of issues relating to creating opportunities for domestic businesses in the ecosystem of what the mines is able to bring. Essentially, that's why we call for these investments.
No one saw this coming. A major copper deal between Zambia and the United States has been suddenly suspended, and the shockwaves are spreading fast. Copper is the backbone of electric cars, clean energy, and modern technology, and now one of the world's key suppliers has hit pause. Markets are reacting, investors are nervous, and United States supply plans are under pressure. Why did Zambia make this move, and what does it mean for global power, green energy, and the future of critical minerals? Stay with us, because this decision could change everything.
The decision landed without warning and sent a ripple through global markets. A major copper agreement between Zambia and the United States was suddenly put on hold, stopping what many believed was a cornerstone of future cooperation between Africa's leading copper producer and one of the world's largest industrial economies. The move was swift, firm, and unexpected. For observers watching global resources, trade, and geopolitics, it felt like a turning point that few had prepared for. Copper sits at the heart of the modern world. It powers homes, factories, data centers, electric vehicles, renewable energy systems, and military technology. Any disruption involving copper is never small, and when that disruption involves Zambia, one of the most important copper-producing countries on the planet, the impact quickly becomes global. That is why the suspension of this deal has drawn so much attention, and why many in the United States are now scrambling to understand what went wrong. The suspended agreement was designed to secure long-term copper supply while deepening economic ties. For Zambia, it promised investment, infrastructure development, technology transfer, and expanded access to international markets. For the United States, it offered something increasingly rare in today's tense global environment: a stable, friendly source of a critical mineral needed to power future industries. At a time when competition over raw materials is growing sharper, the deal was meant to reduce dependence on rivals and fragile supply chains. Under the arrangement, large-scale mining operations would have expanded production, improved processing capacity, and increased exports over several years. Support systems, including transport routes, energy supply, and local employment programs, were part of the broader vision. Officials on both sides spoke of shared benefits, long-term cooperation, and mutual growth. On paper, it looked like a win for everyone involved. Yet behind the scenes, pressure was building. Zambia has been reassessing how it manages its natural resources, especially minerals that form the backbone of its economy. Copper accounts for a large share of national revenue, foreign exchange earnings, and employment. For years, debates have intensified around whether the country has been getting fair value from its resources or whether too much profit has flowed outward while local communities carried the environmental and social costs. The official reminder given for the suspension focused on economic and strategic concerns. Authorities pointed to the need to review financial terms, revenue sharing, and long-term national interests. There were worries that the structure of the deal could limit future policy flexibility or lock the country into arrangements that might not serve its people over time. Officials emphasized that this was not a rejection of cooperation, but a pause meant to protect national priorities. Political factors also played a role. Public opinion inside Zambia has grown more vocal about mining agreements, demanding transparency and stronger benefits for citizens. With rising living costs and high expectations for development, leaders face pressure to show that foreign partnerships truly serve the public good. Suspending a high-profile deal sends a strong signal that resource sovereignty matters and that external partners cannot assume automatic approval. From a strategic angle, Zambia is increasingly aware of its position in the global minerals race. Copper demand is expected to surge as the world shifts toward cleaner energy and digital infrastructure. By slowing down and reassessing deals now, the country may be positioning itself to negotiate stronger terms later diversify partnerships, or align more closely with emerging markets that offer different conditions. What shocked United States officials and investors was not just the decision itself, but the timing. The deal was widely seen as secure, supported by months of discussion and planning. Many believed it was already factored into future supply forecasts. When the suspension was announced, markets reacted quickly, with uncertainty spreading across industries linked to copper prices and availability. For the United States, the surprise cut deep because copper is no longer just an industrial metal. It is a strategic resource. Electric vehicles use far more copper than traditional cars. Solar panels, wind turbines, and power grids depend on it. Data centers, artificial intelligence systems, and advanced manufacturing all require massive amounts of reliable copper supply. Any disruption threatens not just economic growth, but national competitiveness. The United States has been working to secure critical minerals from trusted partners to reduce reliance on unstable or rival sources. Zambia was viewed as a key part of that plan. The sudden pause exposed how fragile even well-planned strategies can be when they depend on external decisions. It also highlighted the growing influence resource-rich countries now wield in shaping global supply chains. Copper's importance goes beyond clean energy. It is essential for construction, telecommunications, healthcare equipment, and defense systems. As infrastructure ages and demand grows, securing enough copper at predictable prices becomes a major challenge. A single large supplier stepping back can tighten markets, raise costs, and delay projects across continents. For Zambia, the decision carries both risks and opportunities. In the short term, suspending the deal may slow investment flows and raise concerns among foreign partners. Mining is capital-intensive, and uncertainty can make investors cautious. There is also the risk of lost revenue if production expansion is delayed. These are serious considerations for a country where copper exports play such a central role in economic stability. At the same time, the move strengthens Zambia's bargaining position. By showing a willingness to pause even major agreements, the country signals that it values long-term benefit over short-term gains. This can attract partners willing to offer better terms, invest in local value addition, and support sustainable development goals. It also opens space for new discussions around refining, manufacturing, and downstream industries rather than just raw exports. International partnerships may shift as a result. Other countries are closely watching how this situation unfolds. Some may see an opening to deepen ties with Zambia by offering alternative deals or more favorable conditions. Others may become more cautious, waiting to see how resource policies evolve. Either way, Zambia's choices now will shape its global relationships for years to come. Global investors are reacting with mixed signals. Some view the suspension as a warning about political and regulatory risk. Others see it as a sign of a maturing resource strategy that could lead to more stable and transparent agreements in the future. Much will depend on how clearly and consistently Zambia communicates its next steps. The broader consequences extend far beyond one deal. As competition for critical minerals intensifies, resource-rich countries are asserting more control. This trend challenges traditional models where powerful economies secured supply through long-term contracts with limited local input. Today, producing countries want a greater share of value, more say in operations, and stronger guarantees for environmental and social outcomes. For the United States, the situation is a reminder that access to critical resources cannot be taken for granted. Building resilient supply chains requires not only investment, but trust, respect for local priorities, and flexibility. Deals must adapt to changing political and economic realities on the ground. There is also a lesson here for global markets. Assumptions about stability can shift overnight. Copper prices, investment strategies, and production forecasts all depend on decisions made in capitals far from trading floors. The suspension underscores how interconnected and sensitive the modern resource economy has become. Looking ahead, several paths are possible. Zambia could renegotiate the deal under revised terms that better align with its national goals. Talks could resume with adjustments on revenue, ownership, or processing commitments. Alternatively, the country might seek to diversify its partners, spreading risk and maximizing leverage. In some scenarios, the pause could lead to a complete restructuring of how copper agreements are handled. For the United States, responses may include renewed diplomatic engagement, reassessment of supply strategies, and increased investment in alternative sources, including domestic production and recycling. The focus will likely shift toward building more flexible and diversified mineral networks to reduce exposure to sudden disruptions. What happens next will depend on dialogue, compromise, and strategic patience. Both sides have strong reasons to find common ground. Zambia needs sustainable development and fair returns from its resources. The United States needs reliable access to copper to power its economic future. Whether this suspension becomes a temporary setback or a defining moment in global resource politics remains to be seen. One thing is clear. The world is entering a new era where minerals like copper are as politically significant as oil once was. Decisions made today will echo across industries, economies, and borders. America did not see this coming, but the message is now unmistakable. In the race for critical resources, control is shifting, and no partnership is immune to change.